The previous years before now, sports were way more enjoyable. Sports this year, due to COVID, have been pretty different. Football was the first sport of the year, and adjusting to it was pretty difficult. Barely anyone could get into the games to cheer our team on due to limited amount of tickets. These bleachers were hardly filled. Even the cheerleaders couldn't go to away games, which I bet was hard for them. Now basketball is a different story. This sport was probably the hardest one to cope with due to the pandemic. Due to players getting corona, not just on our teams here at South Gallia, but even players on the other teams that we play can affect us. If you are sitting on the bench, you have to keep on your mask, which is hard for the players that have been playing a lot because it's really hot and they're sweaty. The varsity girls basketball coach, Corey Small, is here to tell us some more about it.
I guess the main difference was we had to take temperatures before practice and before we left for games. But the worst part was putting tables up and down.
Oh yeah, that was bad.
Before and after practice and before games. So yeah, that's the worst.
Who could the players give their tickets to, like their friends or just like their family members or stuff like that?
Yeah, so at the beginning of the season, it started off as only immediate family. And then towards the end of the year, the COVID cases started to go down. So we allowed the players to give them to people outside of the immediate family.
Was that stressful for you with the tickets, or did it not really affect you, just the players?
It didn't affect me at all because I wasn't in charge of that. That was Mr. Wolf. So.
Do you think next year's season will be any different or go back to normal?
I really can't say, but I'm hopeful that it's normal. Only thing makes me think it's going to be normal is I saw where DeWine's going to have the county fairs at full capacity. So hopefully that will lead to no regulations on the percentage of people out of games and stuff like that.
I'm sure the athletes are very excited for when it returns to normal, so they can return to hearing the roar of the crowd. COVID-19 has made a drastic impact on not only our younger generation's day-to-day lives, but especially our older.
Well, when I was growing up, you didn't have any video games or cell phones or computers. So whenever you wanted to play, you had to go knock on a neighbor's door and go, hey, you want to play a game? Or hey, you want to walk around the neighborhood? Or you had to actually go and interact a lot more.
Most of the year, grandparents and relatives did not even get to see their younger relatives participate in sports or school awards. Many events and typical plans that take place throughout the year were canceled due to COVID-19.
I'd say my job has changed due to COVID because we had to be more cognizant of where the kids sat and make sure that they maintained a good distance, and there was a lot of wiping down tables and chairs, and it really did change the whole aspect of being here this year a lot.
What about the older demographic? How does this compare to their childhood? How do they feel not being able to see their grandkids, nieces, nephews participate in things?
Well, I tell you, in the beginning it bothered me a lot because I couldn't see any basketball games and I couldn't go to the games even here unless I sold tickets. But it was hard because my one grandson is actually playing football and baseball and college. And I was not allowed to go to the games, even if they were like close by our house. To watch him play, I had to watch on a video screen where he was like this big.
It is very upsetting that these individuals have had to miss out on watching their families grow so much this year and have had to adjust to a whole new lifestyle that they have not had to deal with in their lives. Hopefully for the next year, COVID-19 numbers will drop and things will begin to turn to normal.
I've been quarantined twice, so 2 separate occasions, especially quarantined for 14 days. I've been lucky enough that the health department here has dated it back several days, so I only got quarantined for 10 days the first time and like 8 or 9 days the second time. Quarantine is not a fun time. I'm in my house isolated. I have a 2-story house, so my wife and my son stay downstairs while I was upstairs being quarantined. My wife works at a hospital, so I got to make sure I stay isolated away from her because she can't be taking or risk exposure to the patients when she goes to work. I don't get to see my family or anything. I watch television or I'm on my phone, but it's not the same. You don't get to enjoy being outside or whatever. Have to have food brought to me. I didn't get to exercise or work out. So being quarantined for those two separate times was not fun. So last year when we got shut down from COVID in March, again, I wasn't in the classroom setting. I wasn't quarantined, but I was in the classroom setting, so that was kind of boring. But, I got to work on my golf game a little bit, got to travel a little bit, being at home while we're supposed to be in school, so that was fun. But I wouldn't recommend being quarantined for anybody because it's just a lonely feeling those 14 days that you're isolated by yourself.